He's attending a task force meeting focused on the administration, and Missouri lawmakers plan to help families struggling to pay for college. The president will visit the Matthew Dickey Boys and Girls Club this afternoon. We will stream his visit there live on KSDK.com.
You're watching News 4 at noon in high definition.
Vice President Joe Biden is in St. Louis right now. The Vice President of the United States is holding a town hall meeting at the University of Missouri St. Louis to talk about issues affecting the middle class. News 4's Lori Waters is covering the vice presidential visit. Lori is live on the campus. Lori.
Well, Robin, the topic here today is education, and as Nick zooms in over my shoulder, you will see that the Vice President is taking questions from the audience. Also on hand is Secretary of Education Arne Duncan. The audience is comprised of educators, parents, and students, and the biggest topic of conversation here is paying for college. And the Vice President has been very candid about the difficulty paying for his own children's education. He is also talking about the Obama administration's plans to help parents pay, the expansion and revision of the Pell Grant program as well. Lots of topics coming up here, but the overriding comment from the Obama administration is that they will help parents pay for college. Now, after this visit, the Vice President will head to Matthew Dickey's Boys and Girls Club for an afternoon visit there. Live on the UMSL campus, Lori Waters, News 4.
Thanks a lot, Lori.
Next on News Channel 5 at 5, Vice President Joe Biden was in St. Louis today. What he told some high school students at Matthews Dickey Boys Club.
In high definition, this is News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
Good evening. Vice President Joe Biden told a St. Louis audience today that college should be affordable for everyone who wants to attend. Biden was speaking at a town hall type meeting at the University of Missouri St. Louis. News Channel 5's education reporter Sharon Stevens was there and joins us now with more. Sharon?
Well, Mike, the Vice President was joined by U.S. Education Secretary Arne Duncan, Missouri Governor Jay Nixon, U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill, and several local college presidents. He told the audience it's time to change the system to make college affordable during hard economic times. Now, Biden is chairing President Obama's Committee on Middle-Class Families. The Vice President touted community colleges as affordable higher education for many families. But he also talked about providing more scholarships, loans, and grants to all college students.
And so, folks, look, we understand. There just aren't, we're just not in a position to do this anymore. We're going to try to make some changes here. All of us here in this stage, we're going to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to get a quality education. That's what we're about. And to do this, we're going to make a series of investments. And we've already started.
And Biden says part of the investment is making sure that students are prepared starting in preschool. At 6, I'll introduce you to some city students who had a special meeting today with the Vice President, Mike.
Sharon, thanks. And after leaving the University of Missouri St. Louis, the Vice President visited Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club. He met with about 30 high school students and talked to them about their educational and career plans. After the meeting, the Vice President and Missouri Governor Jay Nixon launched a program called Missouri's Next Generation Jobs Team. It's a summer employment program aimed at finding internships for kids, which would then help them find better paying jobs in the future.
News 4 never stops.
Vice President Joe Biden comes to St. Louis to talk about affordable college, and he runs into a woman with a tough question.
You're watching News 4 at 5 o'clock in high definition.
Thank you for joining us. Vice President Joe Biden spending the day in St. Louis. He joined what he called his middle-class task force in a town hall forum at the University of Missouri St. Louis. Lori Waters was on the scene for us.
Well, Larry, the Vice President is drumming up support for the Obama administration's educational spending plan, peppering his remarks with personal references to his own struggles paying for college. He told the audience of parents, students, and educators that every capable American should have access to higher education.
But college is getting harder and harder to afford. And it's our objective to change that. Everybody knows that the single best ticket to the middle class is a good education, an education beyond high school.
After his pitch for the plan to expand Pell Grants and low-interest loans for education, Vice President Biden took questions from the audience, including one from a woman earning $17,000 a year with 2 children in college who are working several jobs themselves to help out.
I'm Johnny's mom wanting to know how can I be re-educated so that I could earn a paycheck. My job yesterday was reduced to 24 hours a week. So I want to know how can I keep my son in Purdue and my daughter at Texas A&M, and 2 more still to go to college.
In moments, the questioner had business cards from top officials at St. Louis Community College promising help.
I feel very confident that I can speak to my son and my daughter and reassure them that there are plans that are being appropriated to help them and to help us.
Afterward, the vice president met with middle schoolers from Imagine Academy, promising Washington will make sure they can go to college.
I really believed him because for all my life, when I was growing up, I wanted to be the president of the United States. And now that we have a black president, I think I can really do it.
It was phenomenal being there.
I got my car signed by Vice President.
What do you think about that?
I'm really happy.
He was indeed. And after his trip to UMSL, Vice President Biden toured Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club. There, he spoke about stimulus projects. Larry?
All right, thank you, Laurie.
For their child to get a college degree.
Checking top stories for you, Vice President Joe Biden pledging to close gaps between family incomes and college costs. He vows to make higher education a reality for more American students. The Vice President spent the day in St. Louis with what he called his middle-class task force. He said he will ask the Treasury Department to look into how to make college family saving plans more effective and reliable. About 300 attending the town hall style meeting at the University of Missouri St. Louis.
In high definition, this is News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
Vice President Joe Biden tells the St. Louis audience, "I need your help." Biden was at the University of Missouri St. Louis to lead a discussion about making higher education more affordable. News Channel 5's education reporter Sharon Stevens joins us with details. Sharon?
Mike, Biden says the Obama administration is committed to making education available to everyone. Among those listening to his message, university presidents, teachers, parents, and students. The students from 2 Imagine Academy charter schools were front and center at the town hall type meeting. The 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students are the college students of tomorrow. Tamika Nod wants to make sure that financing will be in place when it's time for her 8-year-old son Roger to attend college.
But I'm just making every preparation I can, just trying to put money aside and do what I can to try and help him as far as academically so he can get some of those scholarships and not be in debt when he gets out of school.
Biden says his middle-class task force is looking for ways to make college more affordable during tough economic times. He was joined by U.S. Education Secretary Arnie Duncan, Missouri Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill, and Governor Jay Nixon. Biden says it's time to close the gap between family income and the cost of higher education.
The American Opportunity Tax Credit passed the Recovery Act gives parents and students up to $2,500 tax credit, not deduct, tax credit for each child that they have going to school.
Following his speech, Biden met with the students from the 2 schools and he posed for pictures. Roger Walker got Biden's autograph.
I was real excited and I didn't know what to do with myself.
Would you like to be the vice president someday?
Yes.
How about the president?
Both.
Well, all right then. Joining Biden at the town hall meeting were the chancellors of UM St. Louis, Washington University, St. Louis Community College, and St. Charles Community College. Mike.
Sharon, thanks. That wasn't the only stop for the vice president today. He also met with about 30 high school students at Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club. The vice president and Missouri Governor Jay Nixon then announced Missouri's Next Generation Jobs Team program. That program focuses on finding summer internships for young people.
You're watching News 4 at 6 in high definition.
Vice President Joe Biden focusing on education and stimulus projects in today's visit in St. Louis. He took part in a town hall forum at the University of Missouri St. Louis. He told the crowd the single best ticket to the middle class is education. The vice president said the Obama administration needs support for its educational spending plan.
I heard you wanted to talk to me.
I'm confident we can make it happen again. But first, we got to change the system, giving more people the opportunity to go to college and be prepared when they set foot on campus.
After that town hall forum, the vice president visited the Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club.
In high definition, this is Fox 2 News Edge.
Vice President Joe Biden was in St. Louis today, pledging to make higher education a reality for more Americans. Biden was at UMSL this morning to talk about the administration's plans to make family college savings plans more effective and more obtainable. He's pledging to close gaps between family incomes and college costs.
I'm literally tasking the Treasury Department and the Secretary of Education to look into options for families that have suffered losses through their college savings accounts, the so-called 529s in recent months.
Before heading home to Washington, the vice president stopped by Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club to announce $30 million in stimulus money for a youth summer jobs program.
News 11 starts now.
Affordable education. That's the hope Vice President Biden brought to St. Louis today. The pledge he is making to help those struggling with costs. The Gateway City hosts the Vice President, what Joe Biden did during his visit to St. Louis today, and the message he brought to those struggling to pay for college. Vice President Joe Biden wrapped up his visit to St. Louis today with a stop at the Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club in North St. Louis. He met with high school students, and he announced that $30 million in federal stimulus money will pay the salaries for the summer jobs of 5,000 Missouri teenagers and young people. As he was leaving, the vice president delayed his visit a little bit, walking across a field to greet more students from the City Career Academy who had lined up to wave at his motorcade. Earlier today, the vice president told St. Louis families that the Obama administration is committed to making a college education more affordable. He spoke to a town hall meeting at the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Making sure that every single child in America has an opportunity to get a good education from preschool to college.
The vice president pledged to close gaps between family incomes and college costs.
I'm literally tasking the Treasury Department and the Secretary of Education to look into options for families that have suffered losses through their college savings accounts, the so-called 529s in recent months. I'm asking them to come up with ideas as to how they can, while those accounts are down, be able to maybe borrow low-interest loans against them and pay back when their college, when that fund is replenished.
And Biden says he wants to work to cut out private lenders in the student loan program. Biden says that would save the government $94 billion in cost to lending institutions over 10 years.
If we end that practice and have direct loans coming out of the government to y'all, they're already getting, and those who say, well, now you're big government, we're already guaranteeing these loans. So what do we need the middle guy for? And we can take that $94 billion and Arnie will reinvest it in more loans, more grants, and more access to college.
Biden says the administration also wants to extend the American Opportunity Tax Credit beyond the year 2010. That credit can be claimed for 4 years of college for a maximum of $2,500 a year.
In high definition, this is News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
College should be affordable for everyone who wants to attend. That was the message Vice President Joe Biden brought to St. Louis today. Biden spoke at a town hall meeting on the campus of the University of Missouri St. Louis. The vice president was joined by U.S. Education Secretary Arnie Duncan, Missouri Governor Jay Nixon, U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill, and several local and college presidents. He told the audience it's time to change the system to make college affordable during hard economic times.
The American Opportunity Tax Credit, passed the Recovery Act, gives parents and students up to $2,500 tax credit, not deduct, tax credit for each child that they have going to school to pay for tuition, fees, books, and/or room and board.
Now, after his speech, Biden met with students from the Imagine Academy charter schools and posed for pictures. And the vice president also stopped by Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club in St. Louis. That's where the vice president and Missouri Governor Jay Nixon announced Missouri's Next Generation Jobs Team Program. It will match as many as 5,000 teenagers and young adults with summer jobs in so-called next generation industries. About $25 million in federal stimulus funds will pay the salaries.
In high definition, this is Fox 2 News Edge.
Vice President Joe Biden in St. Louis today pledging to close gaps between family incomes and college costs, making higher education a reality for more students. Biden made that pledge today at the University of Missouri St. Louis. He says the government will consider options such as low-interest loans against plans that help families pay for college.
I'm literally tasking the Treasury Department and the Secretary of Education to look into options for families that have suffered losses for their college savings accounts, the so-called 529s in recent months.
Following that appearance, the vice president went to the Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club to announce a youth summer jobs program.
After trying to muzzle the man, often ridiculed for his loose lips, the White House now calls his, shall we say, exuberance an asset. They call it truth-telling and see his talent for connecting as a real advantage.
Good to see you, buddy. Sometimes maybe I shouldn't be as straightforward as I am, but I'm not going to change that.
So
I've
you're
decided,
not sitting on it?
I'm not sitting on it. I am who I am.
I'm Steve Croft.
I'm Leslie Stahl.
I'm Bob Simon.
I'm Morley Safer.
I'm Scott Pelley. Those stories and Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
The first 100 days of an administration is when the first report cards come out. The president is facing a barrage of tough issues, and he's getting some good marks and some criticism. But what about the vice president? Well, he's still regular Joe, a man deepened by tragedy when his first wife and baby daughter were killed in a car crash in 1972. A senator for 36 years, chairman of 2 powerful committees, he told us he may have more experience than any vice president ever. And yet he has a reputation as a gaffe machine, a loose cannon who simply talks too much. I asked him if he was worried about doing an interview for 60 Minutes. "It's not you I'm afraid of," he said, "it's me." But everyone we spoke to at the White House said they don't want him to change.
The president and the entire team close to him has encouraged me not to try to all of a sudden be a different Joe Biden than I was for the past 36 years. Sometimes maybe I shouldn't be as straightforward as I am, but I'm not going to change that.
So
I've
you're
decided,
not sitting on it?
I'm not sitting on it. I am who I am.
After trying to muzzle the man,